What we discussed in the last class? Framework activity, right? Software process framework. Which part? This part is completed, right? Framework activities and process framework. Someone respond. Because I'm handling multiple sessions, so I have confusion where I stop.
Ma'am, we have completed that relation between the security attacks.
This part is completed, right?
Security
Process.
attacks.
Sorry.
We have completed that security relation between the security attacks and security. What are the security services like traffic? Yesterday, we have conducted a poll also.
Yesterday we had class, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday?
Means last class.
Okay. Last class was when it was yesterday or last week? Yesterday for which session? I don't know which section. Yesterday I had class, but I think it's for another section.
Ma'am, no, ma'am. 12 to 1 for us only.
For you only? For you
Yes,
people? Yesterday
yes.
class. Yesterday I have 3 classes. Okay, maybe one of the sessions, yes. Okay, this part we completed. Okay, then we completed this generic process framework activities, communication, planning, modeling part we completed, right? Okay, this part completed. Umbrella activities completed, right? Yes. Yesterday means I taught this part, umbrella activities. Okay, then in the yesterday class, what we discussed? For any software project, if you want to develop any software project, irrespective of its size and complexity, we have to follow 5 framework activities. What are those framework activities? Planning, communication, modeling, construction, and deployment. These framework activities are common for all software projects, irrespective of its size and complexity. But umbrella activities are based on the size and complexity. It will vary. It's not mandatory for all the projects. Umbrella activity means like software project tracking and control, risk management, formal technical review, measurement, software configuration management, reusability, work product preparation, and production. These are not mandatory for small projects, which we are very much clear about the requirements. And there is not much risk because we already implemented what organizations software which is successfully running, and if they want to increase the scale, there is not much risk in that project because you already implemented successfully, right? Your feedback is good, so you can go for the scale, a change in scale, so there is no risk. So based on the risk factors, then there is no need of risk management type of things are not needed. And if it is very complex and you are not at all aware about how it will run in future, means the requirements are not clear to you, and there are a lot of risk because we don't know whether we can satisfy the customer requirement. This is the first project we are going to handle in that sector. So you have so many confusion, no clarity about success. So obviously, the risk management is very important in that case, and manage not only risk, other configuration management, everything is very important in this case. Risk you can calculate based on the impact factor, based on the possibility of risk, how frequently. These 3 factors you need to consider. How frequently that particular risk may happen. And if it happens, what impact it makes on your system. If it is negligible, means you can, no need to worry much about that. But if it is moderate or high level, impact means you should concentrate more. And suppose if the frequency is more, then you have, and the impact is also very high, then you should give more priority to that risk management, that type of risk management. But if the impact is less and the frequency also less, means no need to worry much. You can manage the risk, but the priority is less. Like that, you have to fix the priority of each and every risk, and you should consider those parts are very much important if you are going to handle a project which is very complex in nature and not familiar to you, and the requirements also not clear. Then the risk factor is more. But normally you successfully done one software like a library management or hospital management or those type of softwares you already worked, and you are very much clear about the requirements. What is the general requirements? Okay, it varies slightly from organization to organization, but anyway, majority of the requirements are common. So no need of that much risk management in those cases. So this umbrella activities will vary based on the size and complexity, but framework activities are common and it is mandatory for all the projects. Then CMMI is not there in your syllabus. And next is process models. Process models means software development life cycle. As I already explained, what are the main framework activities needed to complete one project. Okay. So what are the software process models? Software process models of development life cycle. That means any project, any software project is going through, the development is going through some particular phases. That is the software development life cycle. We have many type of models are there. Depends on your requirements. Varies, your requirement is vary. That I will explain you. Based on the variation, the requirement, you can choose the best process model which is suitable for your application. So process model define set to, what is the process model? It defines set of activities, actions, task, work product which are required to engineer a high quality software. You should remember that definition. It contains set of activity. We will define set of activities, action, task, and work products. Work products means not only the final product. Okay, you are working on one project and you will get an output, means the end product. But when coming to software, the final product is not the only one product. You will get many products in between. Like an SRS, software requirement specification is a work product, and the workers manpower means how many workers, the employees, how many employees need to allocate to complete one module. That is a work product. And documentation is a work product, and the pros and cons are work products. Means all these things we will save for the future projects. Means these are lessons for future projects. So all these things we will document. So these are multiple work products are there from the designs, all the designs which you are preparing after the designing phase. It's a work product. So not only the final product, like the hardware systems. Hardware system, there is only one final work product, and that is your product, final end product. So process model defines set of activities, actions, tasks, work products which require to engineer a high quality software. Our motto is to create a high quality software. So we can adopt we have choice. There are multiple process models are there. We have choice. We can select the best one to based on the need. Need means based on the requirements. Then set of framework activities are organized into process flow, and the process flow may be linear, incremental, evolutionary. There are three types of process models are there. We can categorize as linear, the spelling is wrong, linear, incremental, and evolutionary. These are the three process models that we will discuss in the coming sections. The software development life cycle, every process model contain these phases like planning, definition, designing, building, testing, and deployment. The same concepts I explained before, the different phases of software or stages of software. I already explained. These are the stages, slight differences from books to books or topic to topic, but anyway, the concept is same only. First, we should go for communication. Through the communication, you can plan it and then define, means analyze it, design, and building means construction, then testing and deployment. The same phases you can see. The term may be different in textbook. If we are going for multiple textbook, you may get different terms, slight differences. But the concept is same. Then different types are there. These are the different types of process models. Waterfall model is there, V model, incremental, RAT model, agile, iterative, spiral, prototype models are there. These are the different types of models. In software development life cycle is, software development life cycle is this thing. These are the life cycle, means the life of a software development. Life means birth to death, right? So the entire development phase we can divide it into these phases. So for all these models, all the process models are going through the same stages, these stages, but how it varies, that we could. So the first one is waterfall model. Is the screen is visible?
Yes.
Okay, this is the waterfall model. From the shape, you can identify it's like a waterfall, right? Waterfall shape means it starts from communication, planning, modeling, construction, deployment. So communication part means requirement gathering, planning part is estimation, scheduling, and tracking. These things I already explained. What are the roles of this model that I already explained, right? Same thing, but the difference I will tell you. Modeling means analysis and design. Construction means coding and testing. Deployment means delivery, support, and feedback. So these are the operations happens in each and every phases. So how many phases? There's 5 phases. Communication, it starts from communication. The order is very important because this is the life cycle. Life cycle means start to end, means like birth to death. So start from communication and the last part is deployment. So you can see that waterfall, how it's flowing only in one direction, right? It can flow only in one direction, from this to this, then this to this, this to this. There is, you can't go back. You can't go back and make application. So that's why we call it as a linear model. Linear means from first to second, second to third, third to fourth, fourth to fifth. There is no way to go back and make change. So can you Can you find what is the disadvantage of, suppose if you choose this waterfall model for your software development, what is the negative part? Just think about it. You have to be clear about the requirements. Suppose we are very much familiar about the requirements. Anyway, customer won't be familiar with all the requirements. He is not a technical background person, so not a techie, right? So the requirements they're sharing is vague. They are not much aware about the importance of requirement, because as a developer, you know the need of collecting requirements, because you need planning part, you need designing part, you need modeling part. So you are very much aware about that part. But the person who are coming, the client who is approaching you is not aware about design. Okay, what he's thinking, I can share the requirements whenever the project is, I can share my requirements. But if the client is like that and you are not aware about requirements, you shouldn't go for this model, because for this model there is no way to go back. There is only one direction. Before starting the planning phase, you should collect the requirement. 90-95% requirement you should collect. If you can able to collect, then only you should go for this model, and this is only applicable for small projects. If the project is very lengthy one, definitely the requirement will change in between. At the time, there is no way to go back and make changes. So you should not go for this model. This model is only applicable to small project, and if the requirements you can collect, if you have confidence, if you are very well about the execution of the project. For example, I already told you that if you are going to develop a software which you already done many times and you are very well aware about the requirements and the complex, it means the risk. If you are very well aware about those things, you can adopt this methodology. Or else, if there is a software which is already executing very efficiently and you just need to change the scale, you can go for this model. So that's why we call this as linear sequential model or classic life cycle model. These are the other two names. Remember these names. Linear sequential. From the name itself, you can understand. You start from one side and it's going sequentially. And classic life cycle model. This is one of the traditional methodology. In standard form, there is no, it won't handle any kind of risk, and very easy thing. You can complete. But the only drawback, which is said, here we are only taking the feedback and the end. Feedback phases here. After that, there is no modification phase. So the advantages, it's very simple, understandable, it's very easy to implement and very usable. And you should know the requirements at the beginning, and there is no overlapping phases. One phase you complete, then you're going for the next phase. Okay, there is no overlapping phases, and this is work for small project. You can see there is no overlapping phases. Once it finishes the communication, then it go for the planning. Once the planning is complete, then it's going for the modeling in that way. So disadvantages, the model is not good for complex project. And if it's a poor model for big project, and the problem and the model are uncovered until software testing, and the amount of risk is very high. That's why I already said, if you are very much familiar about one project executions, then only you should go for this requirements. If you are very much clear about the requirements, then only you should go for this model. The next page is next one. Is it clear, this waterfall model? Is it clear? Where you can apply this model when the requirements are very well documented, and if it is clear, and if it is stable, product definition is stable, it won't allow you to change in between. Once you define the product requirements, after that you don't have any flexibility to change. Then technology also, if you can't experiment in your technology in this. If you are very much familiar with one technology, you can go for that, and there is no ambiguous requirements. Sometimes the requirement is not clear. In that case, there is no flexibility is given in this type of model. So, and the resources are required, and if it is available in the initial itself, then you can go for it, because it won't handle any kind of risk. And if the project is short, in this situations, you can apply the waterfall model. Okay. Is it clear, this first model? How many of you got idea about this model? How many of you clear this part? Respond.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm asking the whole class, only one person is responding. If you clear this topic, raise your hands. Or else, what are the different emojis available? These people are not response. Anybody is there? Only one person is there, I know. Am I teaching only one?
No, ma'am.
Then respond. Are you getting this waterfall model? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
And not two members are responding. I'm not sure whether the other students are there or not. We'll go for polling. Some people raise their hands. Okay, there you have many reactions. Thumbs up is there. Surely. Oh, these are like WhatsApp emojis. Anyway, thumbs up means you understood, right? Only up, no down. Oh, it is also there. So if you don't understand, you can use different emojis. Okay, at least for some students, they responded. I'm not sure whether they are listening the class or simply they are raising their hands on seeing others give thumbs up. They raise their hands, simply they no, I had 19. Okay, 19 out of 50, yeah, 51. 22, okay. Whatever it is, some students are listening. We could not make sure that all are listening. So the first one is waterfall model. Then prototyping process model, evolutionary process model, and unified process model are the syllabus. So the next is incremental process model. Actually, the model is not shown in your syllabus. V model, you can see it's like it's not in your syllabus, but still every competitive exercise is one of the subjects, even for the GATE or any other public sector exams. This is another subject. It's one of the course will help you to answer the MCQs in the competitive exams. So when it comes to V model, I will simply say this. In this, you could see this developer's life cycle and tester's life cycle. Means it's parallel. You can see business requirement specification, system requirement, high level design, low level design, and coding. These are the different verification phases, and a developer life cycle. Life cycle means software development life cycle. In that one, specification, these two are planning phases. The planning output actually business requirements are there, system requirements are there. These two are comes under business. Sorry, I lost the connection between. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, when it comes to the V model, you could see this business requirement specification. After the requirement specification actually that is the end product of the first phase. What is the first phase? Planning phase. Planning phase, you will get requirement specification. So that we will learn in detail requirement specification. SRS documents are there. SRS documents are input for the analysis and designing. So the requirement specification means business requirement and system specifications are there. We will separate it. And after this requirement specification, we are going for testing. Acceptance testing means who is doing this acceptance testing? The client itself. The client means once you sort out all the requirements after the communication with the customer, you will prepare a document. That document is called SRS, System Requirement Specification. And you will create one business requirement specification also. And you will verify this thing with the customer. That part is called a acceptance test. Okay, the customer, once you give the requirement details to the customer and the customer is saying, yes, this is the exact requirements I need. He accepted that. Okay, his acceptance means he approved that. So that is the acceptance testing. And system requirement specification also system. We are going for integration testing. Integration testing, I already said, after the module development, we will integrate this module and we are going for a testing that is called a integration testing. Next is high level design. High level design means it is we are going for component testing because you already develop one component and you can go for the component testing. And low level design is the detailed design, means unit design, unit testing. Unit testing means you can see this is a high level to low level. Low level means the unit is the lowest standalone module. That is, you call a module or unit. That unit test testing means you are checking whether you give the brackets properly, whether the function called as properly, the arguments are given properly, and the boundary conditions are satisfied or not, like that. The internal details of every module, that is the module testing. That is the lower level testing. Lower level testing means detailed testing. Means you go to a particular module and you are analyzing and testing whether it is working properly. That is the after low level design, you are going for unit testing. So in every verification phase is related with one testing phase. So testing is doing very frequently and it has very high priority in V model. That's why we call it as V model. So what is the positive side? Positive side is very low risk factor, but we spent a lot of time for testing. Risk factor is less, means every time you are testing and checking whether we satisfy the condition, are we in the right track or not. So the testing, we are spending a lot of time, but the risk is less. But when we learn the waterfall model, we are doing the testing. Now the testing is not so frequent, and the feedback we are taking only once, that too at last moment. Suppose if it is a very lengthy complex project and you are taking the feedback last, then the customer is saying, the client is saying, this is not the product which I want. Then you are in trap, right? You can't do anything. That's why we are not using that methodology for complex long projects. We are only using it for the small projects, not a lengthy one. That budget and time, if it is less only, we will go for that. You don't handle any kind of risk. Is it clear to everyone, these two models? The difference between these two models. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear? Is it clear, these two models? V model and traditional linear or cyclic model or waterfall model. Many names are there. Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? Tell me yes or no.
No, ma'am.
Then I'm going to end the session. Is there any girls in this batch? I never heard any girls' voice also. Only boys, 1 or 2 members responding. The remaining people are not saying even yes or no. I'm not asking any questions because I'm not expecting. People are not respond even for the yes or no question also. Then how could I expect an answer? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.